What's up, guys? RB here with Compound Trading Group. Today we're sitting down with Venom Trades to talk market psychology, how it affects your trading, how it affects when you're viewing charts, and how to overcome it. I hope you enjoy.
But, a lot of the emotions that, we go through in trading, for the most part, I think the biggest one is, or the most important ones are fear and greed. Fear keeps you from clicking that button to hit the buy button. You could have your A plus setup. You're probably 85%, for sure that the stock is going to do what you think it's going to do, but you still won't hit the button. And and when you go back to think about it, you keep telling yourself, why didn't I hit the buy button? That's because fear. I want to steal this little quote from Mark Douglas' Trading the Zone. As kids, he describes in that book that as kids, we were taught to, for example, not touch that vase because it's going to break. You're taught, at a young age to not do something, and that in itself creates something, some sort of fear or uncertainty in your mind that makes you second guess yourself. And that, like I said, and these are things that that they're brought on from the market. Didn't bring these insecurities into your life. It was your past life or the lives that you lived in before you started the market that you're facing now. And that's why that quote, sticks with me so much from that book, because it's a reality. Somebody, your parents, like, hey, don't cross the street without looking because you're gonna get hit. And so it's fears like that, that they get embedded in your brain. And and a lot of those fears and doubts that you had from growing up transpire when you trade, because you're very uncertain of what you're going to do. So that's why I preach. That's why me personally, I preach a lot of psychology, because it's the number one thing that you have to control, and that's the only thing that's going to keep you from not making it in this business. Is if you can't control your emotions, or just anything that's uncertain in your mindset, you will not make it. And I'm just being very honest, because a lot of gurus out there, they're like, oh well, everybody can make it, but they don't ever talk about psychology. A lot of guys that are very successful, they have their own mental issues. I mean, a lot of the big guys that I've seen, they're very, transparent about their mental issues. And they talk about the daily struggle. They don't make it seem easy. And that's what I like to hear, and that's what I like to see. I like the guys that are constantly, in the shit of life, and being very real with the emotions that they face every single day. For me, like an example, for the longest time, I'm from a Hispanic background, and Hispanics don't believe in depression. They're like, depressed, fucking go out there and work and it'll go away. For the longest time, I didn't know I was dealing with depression until I actually dealt with it, and kind of like, man, what the hell? Why am I feeling this way and stuff like that? And I think and for me, that's one thing that I had to overcome. My depression, and also with trading, because that affected me a lot in the very beginning. Because as a trader, we let our losses dictate. As far as like we let it dictate how good we are. So we could be very good traders, as far as understanding the structure, market, how the market moves, but we let our losses define or define us, and it shouldn't be that way. because everybody takes big losses. I've taken big losses. I know RV's taken big losses, and we just simply can't let that dictate your process. Because some of you guys, I hear and I read it like, oh, I fucking suck. When am I going to get there? It's a process. You can't speed up a process. It's just like becoming a doctor. It takes you 7-8 years to become a doctor, and you can't rush that. You have to take your time. I can't say that you won't feel these emotions because they're very real and they're very raw. But if you can, make it through those emotions that you face every single day, I can promise you that you would have a very high likelihood of making it in this game. Because it's like I said, for me, it's one of the hardest things that I've done in my life, but it's also the most rewarding that I've done in my life, because it's let me be home here with my family. But it's very hard, and I think that's why I also enjoy it, because I enjoy doing things every day that are fucking hard and that challenge me, and that's why I love what I do. Just like a lot of guys, they love what they do. They might not be as profitable, but they love it because it challenges them. So it's something that every trader faces. If you ever talk to a trader and they don't ever face these emotions, I can guarantee that they're full of shit, because I haven't met a single trader that has ever told me, oh no, dude, even those big losses didn't affect me. Bullshit, because that's real money. Unless you're using your daddy's cash, bank account or credit card or whatever. But that's the thing. We have fear of losing money. That's what's embedded in our brain. Do not lose money, and that's why we're so fearful. Aside of the fact from other events in your life from the past that that have tattooed you. So that's why I think psychology is so important, because in order to overcome the fear that you have in the market, you have to overcome yourself. And that's why I push this fucker Goggins, because that motherfucker helped me so much. I mean, it's incredible, because our lives are not the same as the accomplishments, but it's the same in the shit that I lived as a child. So that's why I can relate to him so fucking much. And that's why I'm as raw as I am, because life is a motherfucker. I mean, it's fun, but also sucks at the same time. So that's why I'm very real, and I know a lot of people don't understand how the way I come across, but I talk very real and very passionate about what I do, because that's how I am, and I wouldn't change it for anyone. Just because I'd rather stay true to myself than be some fake ass bitch and that just lives a lie for the entire life. But yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about, as far as like just my my background, and like I said, I'm not some fucking doctor or some shit. It's just my experiences are my own, and I just knew how to overcome my own emotions and uncertainties and the shit. But like I said, I'll share my screen, and we can talk about how your emotions will kind of transpire in real time, for example. So let me share my screen real quick. Let's see. All right, for SPY, let's just start. For example, we have your your high of day, or actually what would have been your high day before it actually broke. So right here, you would have your higher high. Let me see. Let me mark this. Your higher high right here. All right. So be honest. How many of you FOMO'd right here, or would have thought about FOMOing? Because I know some of you would have been, all right, let me give me that pullback so I can jump in and and then my ass get smoked. So, and see, this is why I wanted to do this, because I wanted a chart show you how your emotions were taking place. So right here, you had, for example, some of you might have FOMO here. You just have to get in. This bitch is gonna rip, and you have to get in on a pullback. And also, what I did whenever I was new in this shit, and kind of, I guess you could say, gamble, for example, I would get in and on a pullback and be like, you know what, I'm gonna get my calls, and I'm gonna see what it does. I'm gonna see what it does, and if it pays, it pays. If it doesn't, I'll take my cut. And that's, so we all know that trading is a game of probabilities, and it's correct. No one can predict the market. We could predict it. We can have a good chance of where it's going to go, but for a fact, we can't tell you where it's going to land, where it's going to hit, and where it's going to stay. We have a better idea with market structure of where it might land, for example. And right here, FOMO, you have to control FOMO. You can't be in the mindset of missing out, because you're always going to have, you guys hear this shit all the time. You're going to have endless opportunities in the market. That's why I don't let missed trades affect me, because I know I'm going to have another trade later in the day or the next day. I'm not worried about it. I'm not trying to put my money in the market just so somebody can sweep my ass and take it. Like I told you guys a lot of times, my money does really good in my account. It sits there just as fine. So it's those moves that like for this high that will a lot of people get triggered. They just have to get in. I need that fucking pullback. Why do you need that pullback? I mean, for real, question yourselves. Why do I need that pullback to get in? Is this like a life and death type of situation where you have to get into the fucking trade? No. Wait for confirmation, and if it does what your setup is going to do, then get in. But like for here, if anybody got in right here, your ass got smoked. I mean, plain and simple. And this right here, I shorted. I wasn't gonna FOMO. If anything, I was FOMO into puts because I knew this bitch wasn't gonna rip. But I want to stick with the whole, just the psychology part. I don't want to get into much of into the chart, because that just kind of defeats the purpose of what I'm trying to do here. But that's what I'm saying. You want to, you want confirmation that the stock is going to keep going up, and if it looks like it's going to, curl or bounce or bounce off this 9 or the structure pivot, then yeah, get your fucking calls and see what it does. But you guys have to control your emotions. Stop trying to chase shit that it's not gonna that's just gonna take your money. That's why I was putting that thing in the morning to stop chasing waterfalls, because you're gonna fucking be crying afterwards. But for example, let's say if you played puts here, another, because I see a lot of people, and that's probably the big thing. I got in, but I got out too early. I didn't hold. And it comes a lot to take your profits. Don't marry the damn stock. You take your profits. Like RB. He'll scalp, and that's cool. That's his style. That works for him. Don't if you have a style that works for you, don't fucking try to copy anybody else. Stick to your own shit. Learn good habits from traders that are successful, but don't try to mirror their shit. That's why I'll scout, but I'm not trying to be RB, or he's not trying to be like me. We have our own styles that work for us, and we just kind of we bounce ideas off each other. That's it. We don't try to sit there and mirror and try to do stuff that doesn't work for us. But let's see, but just out of say you got in up here, when you saw reject. Let's see, I actually have a key level here. from previous day. Yeah, see, so previous day, a little demand or supply zone. But let's say you got in right here, and you define, because obviously before you get into a trade, you got to define your risk. Before I forget, you always want to define your risk. Where are you going to get out if it goes against you? So define your risk, and then get into the trade. But it starts scaling. Especially if it keeps breaking down, scale out. If you see a big engulfing candle, scale out. Why are you going to be holding your contract, especially if you only have one? Get your trade in and call it a day, or start scaling out. You see it, here, it touches down this 20, and obviously you have a you have buyer step in right here, but it rejects again. You have but the thing is, like, whenever you have one contract, I know it's hard to keep a trade because it's the only one you have, and I can understand why you want to cut so fast. Also, the big losses that you've incurred during time affect the way you hold on to your trades. And that's why people cut so fast. They see that little bit of green and like, I'm going to cut it because I don't want this to turn into a loser, which I completely understand. But that's why a lot of you guys can't hold on to a trade, because in a way, this comes back to the whole, the losses that come and haunt you. That's why I said that today. You remember your winners, because your losses are always going to come back and haunt you. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. You could have a perfectly good setup right here that will pay you if you can look past the fear of losing money. But a lot of you guys you'll see green on your P&L or whatever, and what I might you sell, and then then right here the stock keeps breaking down, and you're like, oh shit, I sold too early. What the fuck? I mean, and that's what I'm trying to say right here, is that it's those prior losses that literally have tattooed you, and that's why you can't hold to the trade. People are scared of losing money, and I get it, I understand, and that's why we say do not trade money that you're not willing to lose. I mean, it's plain and simple. You cannot come to the market and think that you're going to be fucking rich in a month, because it's not reality. I mean, with the whole AMC squeeze, that was a fucking one in a million, but that shit doesn't happen every day. So you can't come into the mentality of the market and think you're going to take all this money, because you're not. You have to play off your risk, what you're willing to lose, and in your setup. And that's why psychology is so important, because for those that for those of you who got puts up here, obviously you scale out. You don't marry the damn thing and hold on to your 10 contract and hope that it keeps going down. No, you scale out. But you pay attention to the chart. You see it break down right here, and I'll go, let me scale out 2. All right, another 2. Man, another 2. If I see a reversal, then shit, let me get out of the trade before it comes back and sweeps me and takes, the rest that I have in there. And that's how a successful trader thinks. They don't think about their P&L. They don't think about their losses, their thousands of dollar losses in the past, because that right there, as soon as you start thinking about your losses, your fucking mind changes. You're like, oh shit, I got to sell because I'm going to lose money. I mean, just, it comes back. It does really come back and haunt you. That's why you have to go into every day with a clear mindset. Everybody has their own routine, whatever that is. But, for me, in the morning, my routine is get up and exercise, because I got to clear my mind. I got to, I got to do something than just think about the stock market. I can't wake up and think about stocks, because that shit just, to me, that shit drains me if I do it, every day for hours on a day. So that's my little time to kind of just, peace out the market and do my own thing. But, everybody, the people that can't hold on to a trade, they're thinking about their losses. They see these, you see the stock breaking down. Let's say right here, it's breaking down, right? As soon as you see this green candle, you start to panic. You start to panic because you already think the stock is going to reverse against you, and you sell your shit. And that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to not to do that. I mean, especially if you're in a winning trade. But I could just tell you here the retest, bam, and it breaks down some more. And so that's why you guys have, there has to be patience. Juan, Jake, RB, myself, we preach patience, because you have to have patience in this game. I can't remember how many times I got into a trade and a little red candle, finessed me, and my thesis was right. That's what happens to us a lot. Our theses are, probably, 70%, 60-70% correct half the time. But, we see a little candle on the opposite of our direction, and it finesses you. And it all comes down to the mentality. You're scared of losing money. And that's why, that whole Mark Douglas, professional trader, that's why we preach so much, because this guy's telling you, do a sample size of 25 trades with money that you're willing to lose, and see how you do at the end of the 25. It's you're never going to get anywhere if you're scared of losing money. It's essentially what I'm trying to say. You can't come into the market fearful of losing money, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to lose money. It's just you can't have that fear. And that's why, a lot of the, some big traders that I've talked to, they've told me straight up when I first started, and, after I took my fucking hits and I actually wanted to, learn and do this right, hey man, like, they would tell me, you have to have money, you have to have some sort of money to come into the markets, money that you're willing to lose, because you will lose it. There's no, there's no doubts about it. You will lose money. I've not fucking met anybody that came into the market with $1,000 and left with thousands of dollars before losing it. So it's the thing. It's that mindset you have to get through, on top of the shit you guys go through every day. If you have kids, your kids could drive you crazy, just like mine drive me crazy sometimes. But I love them. But it's just different aspects of life that affect you, and that's why it's good to decompress in whichever way that you guys want to, whatever you guys want to do, fucking go get high, whatever, exercise, whatever you guys want to do to help you guys, do it, because you need it. As much as I love trading, I can hate it just as much as if I'm looking at the damn charts too much. That's why I got to step away. On the weekends, I step away. I don't do nothing with charts until the evenings, because I need my break. Because it is a consuming job. You never stop learning in this industry. If you say that, when you get comfortable in this game, that's whenever you start losing money. If you can't get comfortable, you got to keep on, keeping up with the markets at all times. But yeah, I mean, your emotions, they have to be in check at all times, and that's why I preach. The guys that are actually successful, but that complain a lot, as far as like, hey man, this thing's a motherfucker. Those are the guys I want to meet. I don't want to meet the guys that make it seem all easy, because the shit ain't easy. I want to meet the guys that are in the shit. Like I said earlier in this conversation, I want to meet those guys like man, like, I want to get up. He's like, I'm tired because I got to get up and do the shit again. And because it is exhausting. There's times sometimes at night where I'm like, fuck man, I could go back to work and not deal with this shit, but this is what I love. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Yes, it wears me out, but I love it because it challenges me every day. and it's not meant for everyone. Not everyone is not meant to be challenged every day. As much as people don't want to hear that. People don't want to be challenged every day. People want to be comfortable in their lives, doing whatever the hell they want to do. But as soon as they see something that challenges them, they panic. And like I said, I mean, this could be for everyone, but you got to change things about your life and about the mentality in order to make it. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I wanted to tell you guys, because I think it's better for me to say it like live in front of people, so you guys can understand the intentions that I have, because I don't just talk out of my ass whenever I say shit on chat. I mean it, because I genuinely care about people, about their livelihoods, because you can't fuck around with people's money. These foods are pumping shit, and you pretty much become their liquidity, and they screw you. You're out there crying and whatever happened, and they're over there collecting their money. I'm not down for that. I can make my money. I can make my money by fucking around with big money. I don't think that's cool. Bringing in people, being suckered in, making this shit seem like it's easy, because it's not easy. I mean, you could get comfortable doing it, where you become really good and it's easier for you, but it's not completely ever easy. There's challenging days. There's days where, you guys see RB struggle sometimes. The market it's just a motherfucker to trade that day, and you're kind of like, oh man, what the hell? Like today was an easy day. With the trend, we had trends. Today, all they were doing, they're collecting zero DTEs. As you can see, it was clear as day. They were just collecting. But yeah, guys. I mean, you guys have to have a clear mindset when you guys trade. Like for example, I told RB this one time. I have a rule that if for the night prior, before the next day, if I have like some sort of argument with my wife and I'm just in a pissed off mood, I don't trade, because I know I'm gonna fucking lose money the next day. I've already done that too many times, where I made that rule for myself, where if I'm just not in the headspace to trade the next day, I don't touch it. There's days where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be good, and then I lose, and I'm like, all right, I'm done, because apparently I'm not following my rule, and this shit's just not gonna be good for me. So, but yeah, I mean, journal. I recommend journaling the trades, because you can always go back and go through your journal and look at your trades, write down your emotions, what you're feeling before you're thinking about putting that trade, and afterwards. How did that trade make you feel? How were you feeling before the trade? I know it's cheesy for some guys, like, oh, I don't need a fucking journal, but it helps. If you guys really want to be successful, I'd highly recommend journaling your trades, because it does help. You can always go back into that day and be like, hey, how was it? Recap the day and be like, what made me successful that day, and make it a habit. There's a lot of successful traders that that journal. Maple Stacks, he journals, and he's talked about his struggles. He's an honest individual. That's why a lot of people like him. And that's I can respect that. He's very open about his past struggles before he became profitable. And the whole journaling thing, I thought that was cool as hell, because a lot of people don't push that kind of thing. They make it seem like it's so easy, but it will be, but never act like you have arrived, because the day you act like you've arrived, that's the day that your shit's gonna go back on you, and you're gonna, that's whenever stuff's gonna get hard on you again. So I mean, you want to always stay sharp, always keep your tools sharp, in the market, because if you can trade this market right now, you can trade any market, and I'm being dead serious. You know, a lot of the guys that came in back in 2020 making, you know, money, multi-million dollars, you don't hear about them. You know, half those guys don't even post anymore because they don't know how to trade this damn market. They might be claiming, "Oh, I'm over here on vacation," but these dumb motherfuckers don't know how to trade this market. That's why you don't hear from them. Um, but yeah, guys. I mean, like I said, you know, there's gonna be more, you know, streams about psychology. You know, that I can talk about psychology every day. You know, it's just something that's never gonna go away. Something that you're gonna deal with. You know, your whole life. You know, you're always gonna be dealing with emotions. But the key is how to control those emotions. How to catch yourself real time. You know, whenever you're fucking up. You know, how to check yourself. Be like, oh, you know, you're about to get into this trade, and for example, you know, you're about to get into this trade, but you know, second question yourself, like, why am I getting into this trade? What do I see here that I need to put on a trade? Because I know there's a lot of you guys that just click that damn mouse, and then, you know, you guys are crying that you guys got into a losing trade and you guys lost money. So question yourself, you know, why did I get into this trade? You know, what's my risk? What's my reward? You know, don't second guess yourself to the point where you're not gonna make the trade, but, you know, really think about it. You know, you want to preserve your capital. You know, I'm sure no one just handed you the money that you have in your bank account. I'm sure you had to earn that shit. So think about it, you know, very definedly by your risk. And if the risk is worth your reward, get in the trade. If it goes against you, cut it quick. You know, but you know, don't just get into a trade, just get into a trade. You know, you guys have to, you know, have control of that emotion, you know, of getting into a trade just to get into a trade. And always, you know, always define your risk and always respect your stop. But I can take some questions if anyone has any questions. You know, I can go through them and help you guys as much as I can in any troubles or, you know, issues you guys are having.
Hey, y'all feel free to unmute if you want to, or you can type it in study hall chat.
Krabs, how did you mentally get into being a pro trader from being part time? That's a good question, and that's one thing that, you know, I struggled with a lot before I made that transition. I mentioned before, you know, my previous job, you know, I was making $100,000 salary. You know, I was living very comfortable, but I just, you know, I wasn't happy. You know, at one point in time, you know, I did like my job, but it just I wasn't happy anymore. And I saw trading as an opportunity to you know, change that. You know, obviously I couldn't quit my job before I wasn't profitable. So I had to make sure, I mean, I had really, at that point in time, you know, whenever I saw it as an opportunity, I was profitable, but not as much as I am now, where I can actually sustain my family. But it was something that I did. It took for me about 6 months to finally pull the trigger, where I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'm done. You know, I know I can make it. You know, I'm a profitable trader. I can make it. So I just have to risk. It's like trading. I have to risk for my reward. You know, I'm one of those I'm an individual that I perform better when I'm under pressure, and that's why I did it, because I knew that if I didn't risk doing this, I would never see it through. So, and that's what I did, because I knew that if I fucked up and something happened where I couldn't make it, I could always get a job back. That's the easiest of my worries, or at least my worries. I knew I could get a job. That didn't, that terrified me. It might not be the same job I had, but I can make money to sustain my family just finding something else. So, like I said, if that's what's keeping anyone that's profitable to going full time, you can always find another job. I mean, it's just all up to you. I mean, no one can tell you the specifics of when to quit or whatever. It's all up to you. Is it worth it to you? And for me, it was. So so I'm very grateful I made that decision whenever I made it. Let's see. Astra, what are your thoughts about scaling in and averaging down into a position? Man, I love scaling in, dude. And that's one thing I think a lot of new traders or newer traders do is they go all in one position, and that's fine. When you're scalping, it's hard. It's kind of hard to scale in and not have the stock go against you, fairly quickly, especially in this type of market. But when your overall thesis is it's set where where your probabilities of a stock doing something is more likely to happen, that's when you want to scale in, like on these upper wicks right here on the tops, scale in, buy 2. All right, the stock still, the stock failed to make a higher high, buy 2 more, and scale in. I mean, I'm not saying go all in, but scale in whatever you're comfortable with scaling in. And as the stock is breaking down, as the stock is following your thesis, scale out. All right, I'm gonna sell 2 here. All right, keeps breaking down. 2 more right here. And then as soon as you start seeing hitting like a 200 or a key level, all right, I'm gonna get out, or I'm gonna scale out most of it, and then secure my profit. And that's the most important thing to do: secure your profit. But yeah, I would say that you want to scale into a position, especially whenever you're trying to get the meat of the move. If you're trying to take scalps, it's that's kind of up to you, man. Like I would say, buy however many option contracts, and as soon as it does that pop, sell them. Especially if you're not very certain of what the stock's going to do. But yeah, I'm all for scaling in and averaging down. Yeah, I mean, I do that a lot, so I'm all for that. Let's see here. Says Mickey, at what point did you say fuck this, nothing to lose, and then had that flip of profitable? What was the catalyst during the mindset change? I mean, my nothing to lose was that I knew that if I didn't follow my what I've learned, then I wasn't gonna do anything. You can't trade scared. I know that you have, obviously you want to protect your money, your capital, to live, to fight and live another day in the markets, but you just can't live in fear. But that's why I also say to not, just blindly trade. There's a difference there. There's probability with an edge, and there's also a dumb trade that you shouldn't have taken. Because I see those made every day. Like, sometimes I question, like, what the hell happened here? Because I don't see a trade here. But I'm not anyone to say that. It's just but that's why I say you want to not overthink a trade where you're not going to make it, but you also want to be cautious of and ask yourself why you're going to get in. Where's my edge in here in this trade? Is my edge here? Because if it's not, then don't make the fucking trade. Simple as that. But that's what it was on mindset. I just told myself, like, you have to do it. If you're going to do, you have to do it now, because it's it's just one of those things that you have to. It's all up to your mindset, and that's what I'm kind of trying to say here. It's hard for me to answer that because everybody has their own mindset. I'm a very determined individual, and so when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So when I said I'm going to go all in this fucking training thing, that's exactly what I did, no matter what I lost and what I gained. So, and that's pretty much what did the flip for me as far as the switch. I kind of, it's something that I had to do with intention and do it for real. No bullshitting, no fucking around. And that's what changed for me is, once I changed my mentality, as far as how I thought about this, that's when it changed for me.
I'm gonna skip the line. I have a question real quick.
Who is this? Who is this?
It's Robert. Do you ever? I'm trying to think how to word this. Do you ever have multiple day losses, and is that pressure different now, being full time with your family? Relying on your trading salary. Does it up the pressure? Are you having to do something mentally different when you get in, like say you get out of tilt, basically, right?
Right.
And you're having those drawdowns, and you just got to play through it. But like, how are you mentally different now when that happens to get back out of it, basically?
So you're pretty much saying, how do I keep myself in check and to not let those emotions about not having like an actual job, pay, kind of like that, right?
Yeah, because if you take like 3 or 4 red days, say, in a row,
Right.
And they might not be big red days, like could be risk, when you get out of the groove, basically.
Well, I would say, when, for example, like whenever, thankfully for me, it hasn't happened a lot lately, thankfully, but whenever it was happening to me, I know whenever I made the transition, those emotions were kind of like fucking with me, so I'm like, I was paranoid of this, at the fact that, even though I told myself, I could just find another job, but at the same time, I didn't want to fail. And that was my biggest fear. Like, I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to fail my family, but most importantly, myself. But so, and it's just some of those emotions that I had to, I respected my stops. I had to, you have to be very respectful of your capital whenever you're trading for a living and that's your sole income. Because you can't go out there trading, cluelessly, because first of all, you'll get smoked, and then you're going to be crying that, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I should have just took the day off, or I should have, took a break for an hour and came back and, take a break, clear your mind, and come back for an hour, after an hour, whatever. And those are the things that have kept me, to minimize my losses nowadays. Is if I take a trade that goes against me or anything like that, I cut it quick, and if my thesis is right, either I let it go. I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna, regroup myself, or I'll 84% that motherfucker and ride the thesis out like I initially planned. But that's what it is. I mean, like I said, just thought of, being able to find a job too, because that gives me peace. Like I said, I find a job no matter where I go. I mean, it might not be the best paying job like I had before, but that gives me peace that I could go find a job and be okay.
Yeah, because that's one thing I was wondering about, because like now when I if I get out of the groove, what I do now is I just size down a lot, and I'll start playing with a few contracts, just get back to executing and make executing the concentration and not necessarily like making money back. But I was wondering like if that would change when you have to make the money.
And yeah, well, no, I mean, most definitely, you want to size down, but it's one of those things, like, you don't ever want to get too comfortable sizing down, because, for example, let's say you're a person that trades, for example, 10 contracts, just as an example, and then you take your first big hit, and you're like, oh shit, it was a big loss, let me size down, let me go 2 contracts, and then you see yourself, hitting them. Like, oh shit, okay, that's cool, all right. And then you hit 10 contracts again, and you take another loss. Your mentality shifts as you size up and you size down too. It's like it's that comfortability. Like, I'm
Yeah.
safer at 2 contracts.
You
I'm safe
start
here.
blaming the size rather than the execution.
Right. Right. Like, and that's, yeah, you kind of, like those 2 contracts an example of that in a psychology state, they make you comfortable. Like, oh yeah, if I take a loss, it's not going to be as big. So you stay there, you stay stuck there. And as a trader, you want to grow. You obviously you can't stay at 2 contracts the whole time because yeah, you will be profitable, but are you going to be profitable enough to sustain your family or to do the
Uh-huh.
things that you want to do? So that's what I'm saying. It's a double-edged sword, if you will, with that type of thing. Yeah, obviously you size down after a loss, but just to regain your marbles, like, all right, man, let me regroup myself. Let me, you know, where did I go wrong, and let me just reaffirmation of I know I was right, but let me size down a little bit just to give me that peace of mind for this 1, 2, 3 trades, just to kind of regain my confidence again, and then start stepping it in whenever you see the opportunity.
And I want to clarify to y'all. I don't size down after a loss. I was talking about like when I'm stringing multiple losses. Like if execution becomes a problem for me, I size down just to get back to my comfortable execution spot. So it's not. Yeah, I just didn't want them to think, oh, if I have a losing trade, I need to size down. I don't size down at that point. It only becomes like a thing if I'm taking like say I've had like 6 losing trades in a row. Then I'll say, okay, I need to size down and work on execution. Something I'm not executing right.
Right. Yeah. There's so many aspects of that, dude. I mean, there's no right answer.
Hmm.
People can tell you, oh yeah, just size down, regain your confidence, and you'll be good, man. But sometimes people are not good. People will have the fear of as soon as you hit those 10 contracts, as soon as you hit that fucking buy button, your fucking hands start sweating. Your fucking toe starts tingling like RBs, and your chest
Cheeks are
starts beating.
clenched.
Yeah, your chest starts beating, and that when you feel that, your emotions are in control. Your mind is in control. You're not in control of your fucking mind. Your mind is in control of you. Um, and that's why it's something that you kind of have to. Everyone has to kind of deal on their own, as far as um, making you comfortable enough after a loss or whatever, or or something that really hits you, to get back to the market, especially if you know your shit, if you have an edge, get back in the market, with you know making you feel a little bit more like comfortable, just get in the trade, but don't stay there because you will stay there. You're gonna be stuck, and then you're
Hmm.
gonna be wondering why am I gaining. I'm making money, but why isn't it that much? Because you don't have confidence in yourself anymore, like you once had, because that loss is stuck in your fucking brain. All right, let's see. What was it? Doghouse. To obtain your levels, do you use the weekly, hourly, or other? I use all of them, but since I'm an intraday trader, um, primarily use the 1 hour and 30 minute for my bigger target levels. I'll look at the daily, but I'll look at it, but I don't really make my decisions on the daily chart. I usually use the 1 hour and the 30 minute for intraday because I don't swing shit right now. Let's see. Says Astra, if your thesis is wrong and you obey your stop, do you ever immediately switch your current bias? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Not always, but I do switch my bias, um, depending on what the chart's telling me. And that's why um, I get, I do this shit too, so I'm not going to say I didn't do it. I used to be like, oh, well, for example, ES is doing this. I have a feeling it's going to go up in the morning. But I knew that the more I did that, the more my bias would control me. So I just kind of, I don't really, I check, for example, I check ES and NQ, the futures at night, but I don't put too much thought into them because I know by the morning time, that shit could be the opposite. In the morning time, that's kind of whenever I do my actual analysis of the market of what I think the market might do. Not so much what I know it will do. I just what I think. I create my thesis. But if my thesis is wrong, yeah, shit, I'll flip bias because there's no point of staying in a bearish thesis whenever the chart's telling you bullish. It's dumb. And then you're always trying to catch. You'll be there trying to catch the tops and get smoked on the pullbacks. So just you always have to. You want to pay attention to the chart. Pay attention to these dumbasses on Twitter that say, "Oh, this is doing that." I mean, I see the better I get at this, the more I see the bullshit on Twitter, and which is kind of amazing. And some of these guys just do a blind trade, and they'll come back later after the market closes. Oh, I took a I don't know whatever a big hit. Like, yeah, dumbass, why? I mean, you shouldn't have even gotten a trade, but whatever. But yeah, the more the more you learn, and the better you get at this, the more bullshit you're going to be seeing. The more clearly you'll be able to read through the bullshit. Um, Team money. Damn, I feel that nervous when it's almost every trade. Yeah, dude, it's your emotions, man. It's your emotions. Dude. You gotta. You guys want to lose fear of losing money, and I know it's really hard because obviously you don't want to lose money. You don't want to lose something that you've worked for, or however you got that money. But it's just what it is. You have to. It's something you kind of have to you have to overcome. Not kind of you have to overcome because if you live in fear, and not only in this but in everything, you're gonna live like a non-fulfilling life, and I think that's what a lot of the stuff nowadays, media, everything that we see on TV is just it makes you fearful of not doing big things with your life because you're ultimately just always living in fear. All right, what else you guys got? How to shift out of market? We're talking about like if you're kind of in a mindset of the market's out to get you type of mentality. Okay, man, it's not, dude. I mean, I know it's easy hearing it from me, but it's not out to get you. It's the it's the it's pretty much the how can I say this? It's the uncertainty in your mindset that is doing it to you. You know, it's just that's why I wrote that PDF on the victim mentality because we all have some sort of victim mentality in our mind. I know I sure the fuck did. Whenever I was losing, I would blame, fuck. There was times where I blamed my wife and she didn't do shit. But I was pissed off at the world that I was failing. Um, um, and I was blaming people. That those emotions were eating me up. Whenever it was just me. It was something that I had to really really dig in and figure it out on my own. Um, you know, it's something you have to there there's there's emotions in that they're there, but you don't know how they got there. And they got there one way or another. I mean, only you or y'all know y'all's life, y'all's past life. But those emotions got there some way or another. Um,
Yeah, I
and
like what Mark Douglas says about it too, Venom, where he says basically like, you can't ever find out what caused the market to move at the moment it moved. Like you can't actually trace back who bought, and so it can't be against you because you physically don't know. There's no way to even predict the market. So like when you started thinking of that way, and you got to get in that slot machine mentality of it's just probabilities. It can't be against you. It physically like no one can. One guy can move to change the play. It takes one guy, but there's no way to really ever figure out who that guy was. And so it's not a
Right.
personal game, you know. And that's what Mark says. It's all about that slot machine mentality of getting
Right. And
because
right.
I
That.
struggled forever.
Yeah. And it's just like, like I said before, when you trading is like, you're pretty much trading emotions. You're trading, whenever you're trading and you take that loss, you trade emotions with someone. They're taking your happiness and you're taking their sadness away, or what have you. And that's what trading is. It's just the FOMO, the FOMO, the fear, and you're capitalizing on someone's emotion. So and that's why like I said, psychology is very very important. You could have all the tools in your tool belt. You could have badass TA. You could know your pivots, your structure. You could have everything right there. I mean, you're fucking right there. But the next morning when that market bell rings and that damn whatever is in your mind comes back and haunts you, it's game over. You might as well wrap it up because you're not gonna be able to execute. Um, and that's why I'm saying you have to have your emotions in check. And like I said, you have to, one way or another, you have to find out where those emotions are coming from. Obviously, um, me for one, I'm not very big into therapists because I hate to say it, but I think they're full of shit. Because how is someone going to tell me how to live my life whenever they haven't lived through it? Um, and and like I said, I'm not saying that they don't that they don't work, but that's just the way I think. Um, so it's one of those things where you have to dig deep, and figure out where these emotions are coming from. What's making you think, that the market's against you? What's making you have like a victim mentality? Um, because once you figure out those emotions and you connect with where it's coming from and how to control them in real time, that's when you start seeing a big change in your trading. Because you won't let your mind control you. Because your mind will take you back 30, 20, however old you are, but it'll take you back in time, and you'll be stuck there. And you'll be in real time in front of the screen, and you're like, what the fuck? Where did everything I learned go? Because it's not here. um so yeah, so like I said, that's why I preach it. I don't, from what I've seen, not no one else preaches fucking psychology. They don't push it because, I mean, maybe their selves are scared in their own little thoughts, whatever. I don't care. Like I said, I told you guys, I was that crying bitch when I lost money, and it wasn't until I figured out what I had to do and actually do it, that's when stuff started changing for me. Let's see. How did you train your mind to get out of that fearful mindset when entering a trade? Quite curious. Dude, I mean, like I said, to me, I um, for me, I kind of have to do something that takes me out of my comfort zone, every day, because that's where I kind of, that's where I feel like I have control of my mind. Um, and if and for those of you who know David Goggins, or have read his stuff, you guys can relate to this or understand where I'm coming from. You have to take yourself to that shitty place in life, or that shitty place in your own life, and go there into the dungeon, like he says, and figure out what brings you there every day, and how to overcome that. And that's how I lost fear of of that's how I lost fear of my own insecurities, is knowing the fact that I could control my mind, knowing the fact um, that I could you know stop when I wanted to, not stop whenever my body's telling me, because whenever your body's hurting, that's your mind telling you that, not your body. So it's like I said, not everybody's gonna understand this, but that's where I take myself. I take myself to those places that suck, but at the same time, I could always go back into that dark space or place, and as a reminder, you know, I can go there every goddamn day, but it won't take a toll on me because I already know how to control my mind and how to, you know, use that to my advantage.
I think also Venom. I think it goes back to like I know you're a Christian, I'm a Christian with Juan, Jake, but like for me, like my worth isn't in trading. Um, so that helps a lot too. Like I don't have to be successful at trading to be worth, you know. And so
Right. Yeah.
it allows me to get into that, like I said, it's back to the execution game. Like I have a job, even if I didn't have a job, like I'm crafty enough to always be able to figure it out. So if I was hurting and my family was hurting for money, like I could figure it out. So I just don't put my worth in trading. So I don't look at a trade and be like, oh, this trade has to work, because it's like, oh well, if it doesn't, we'll move on. You know, if I run out of money, I run out of money, and then trading just wasn't for me if I couldn't ever physically figure it out. But like if you're
Right.
putting the work in, it's going to take time. But your worth cannot be in trading. And for me, like my worth is in God. My worth is in my family. So trading is just a thing. It's like, okay, it's an opportunity to play a probabilities game to make money, and there's nothing more to that. Um, so I think a lot of y'all are just putting way too much pressure on yourself about having to be green. Like if you, it costs money to figure out trading. And if you're
Right.
putting the work in, and you're sized down reasonably to be able to take it, it's like Mark Douglas says, trade with the amount you're willing to lose 20 trades in a row. And you just get to where you just execute, execute, execute. And then you figure out your strategy and you're like, oh, well, wait, this is working. Out of 20 times, I'm profitable. And then it's just a game. Like when your worth isn't based in every trade you take, you start to lose that like emotion, like Venom says, that emotional feeling of like sweaty hands, chest beating. It's just like it's just another trade. That's all it is. So for me, that's I had to get that right. It started with my health. It started with my spiritual health. And then just getting away from trading to where like trading has to work. Like it doesn't have to work. It's not the end of the world if trading doesn't work. Like, yeah, does it make it a lot easier for life goals? Yeah, but it's like it's not the end of the world. So, and it's always going to be here. So for me, that's what helped me a lot to separate that like pressure of like, and I think people just try to speed up the process too fast. Also, like the process is going to happen when the process happens, and if you're putting in the work, you can't speed that up. That's just the side of it that is going to come in time. And it comes faster for some than others. So you can't look at other people and be like, oh, why is he getting this and I'm not? Because it's just how it works. And you got to keep enough mental capacity and enough money in the game to be able to let it work itself out. And it's like Venom said, once you remove those emotional tools and you move that baggage from trading, man, the game is so much easier. You start seeing charts. Like physically, when I removed it, I started seeing the chart move. And I never knew that. I never knew I wasn't seeing it. But like you can be in a clear uptrend and for some reason your brain's locked on a downtrend. And you look back the next day and you're like, oh my god, this did $10 up. And I was trying to play short the entire way. And that's a mental block. Like your mind does that to you. So you just got to get away from trading being your end all be all.
Right. And that's what I think it is too. Is a lot of people, you know, and I get it. Guys, people want to, spend more time with their families. They want to quit shitty jobs and they want to be their own boss. And I totally get that. But it comes with patience. It comes, they say, Rome wasn't built in a day or whatever the fuck they say, but and it's true. Everyone wants, like David Goggins says, everybody wants those 6 minute abs. You're not going to get abs in 6 minutes. You're going to get those motherfuckers in months or maybe a year. And that's what trading is. It has to be patience, but you have to be consistent too in trading. To get the results. And that's what society is kind of done for us. They those quick fixes, and that's not trading. Um, that will get your account blown up.
Yeah, those
Because
diet pills, right?
yeah, those diet pills, they're gonna give you heart attacks or whatever the hell else. But and that's just, it's the same thing. That's what I'm saying. If you look at it in hindsight, everything I'm telling you it's what you live every day. Um, it's just in trading. but yeah, I mean, but yeah, like RB was saying, I told him whenever I first started talking to RB a lot more back in, when we were at the butcher shop, I told him that, I don't, as being like a, a Catholic Christian, I don't, I remember I told him like, I don't pray for God. I don't pray for money or to make things easier for me. I pray for wisdom and for knowledge, because I don't want, things to become easier on me. I just want the knowledge to learn more, and that's the only thing, being as far as like bringing, religion and my religion background to this. I pray for knowledge, not to make this shit easier, because I don't sit there and pray that this fucking stock works against me, because in my opinion that's not how God works. Um, you know, I pray for the knowledge and to give me the wisdom to understand this shit to my fullest potential, but not to make it easy on me, because that's not what I do. So, but yeah, so that's where, that's where I sit as far as like, my religion or religious, beliefs, and as far as this shit. I like it hard. If I can give it to me, you know, there's like shitty days, I'll take it. But you bet your damn ass, at the end of the day, I'm going to be a lot more smarter than most people that just sit there and don't take advantage of the opportunities that are being brought in front of their eyes. But yeah, I mean, so, but yeah, that's pretty much my little spill on psychology.
Yeah, my disc is about to run out of recording, so.
But yeah, I mean, if you guys have anything else, we can wrap this up. And like I said, this won't be the last one. We'll have more of these, because, like I said, people need this more than you would know. But a lot of times they're afraid to ask questions or bring up their emotions, because it's just it's whatever. People just don't like to deal with stuff like that sometimes. All right, guys, thanks so much for taking the time out of y'all's families or whatever you guys have planned. Like I said, we'll see you again tomorrow in the markets, and so we can fucking bank.